This is video number 4 on how to put your plastic engine together. Okay, last video we stopped with putting on the cylinder heads and putting and assembling your camshafts. Now we need to put your camshaft holder on. And there is a certain way this goes, whether it goes on this way or backwards. What you have to line up is a little tab right here. That's got to sit. That's there for the camshaft screw to sit into. Okay, let me show you a little trick that I learned how to put this on. See that? I used the valves to push all those camshafts back on there. Or I should say, I should put all the, not the camshafts, but the rockers on there. I use the valves to hold it as I put it on there. I'm going to do it one more time. Show it to you again real quick. Show what I'm talking about. See how these things are all floppy? You can't get them on there right? Okay. Make sure they're all facing like that. I'm coming down here. I'm using the valves to pivot them and hold them. And then just set the cylinder head in place. It says to use your B screws. And you'll have 6 holes. And again, I'm working from the inside out. Like I said, this is probably not that important on this plastic engine, but a lot of times that's how a lot of cars have you do it. On a side note, whenever you're taking like a cylinder head off or maybe a timing cover off, you should look how it comes off, not just dive into it. Sometimes they may say, alright, take the cylinder head off, we want you to take it off in these steps. Take this bolt loose first, this next bolt loose first, and so on and so on. And that way it won't warp the head as it's coming out. So just one thing about being mechanics is you got to make sure you read the directions and follow them, which is hard to do when you're trying to hurry up because you get paid by the job. Okay, I'm going to go back through and tighten. I got them all started. I'm going to go back there and tighten them. Okay, well, you don't need to watch me tighten them. Alright, so we got our heads on, we got our cams in, we got our cam holders on, and the rockers. Okay, so if you look right here, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is on page 13. This is for the side of the vehicle. Remember that. Okay, alright, put that on. Alright, now the next thing it says, it wants you to put your gears on. This is for your timing. Okay, this right here is your crankshaft gear, and according to this picture, it wants this part right here. There's a circle right here. When we get to this part right there, there's a flat spot. That flat spot should be facing up. Then this timing gear goes on like so. Then, after you do that, according to the directions, this cam on the right hand side here, it says that the flat spot needs to be facing out. So I'm going to put my flat spot, turn my cam so my flat spot's facing out, and then the right cam, they want the flat part of it to be facing downward. And if you look, it's only going to go in there one way. You might have pulled your finger in the back here to keep from you pushing that rod out. Okay. See, if you push this rod right here, you can actually push that out and it will come all out and then you'll drop all your little pieces. So when you're putting these sprockets on the front, make sure you hold the back with one finger, okay? Alright, we're going to do all that. and it says to put the there's 3 pieces on, then go to page number 15, and now it says put the other 4 on, and they go something like this. If you look, kind of does like a somewhat of a rainbow, like a half circle there. And now they want you to put on your timing belt. Now this can be tricky. I'm going to try to do it in this video, but sometimes things just want to mess up. Okay, this is called a timing belt. What a timing belt does, it synchronizes the crankshaft with your camshafts. So that way when this thing turns over, it's opening and closing your valves at a specific time. Yep. If you do not have correct engine timing, your vehicle will not run. Now, this is a timing belt. They also have timing chains, and a lot of your diesel engines and maybe some gasolines have timing gears. Everything was like timing chains there for the longest time, and then the chains were so noisy they went to a belt. The problem with the timing belt is you have to get it serviced. So like every 60,000 or 90,000, whatever the vehicle manufacturer recommends, they recommend you doing a timing belt service. Well, that's a major job. So they kind of went back to doing timing chains again. Most of your vehicles nowadays have timing chains. I don't think you're going to have very many belts out there. And there's ups and downs to both of them. Treat every vehicle as if it were an interference engine, which means this timing belt breaks right when one of these pistons is coming up and that valve's coming down. They hit each other. It's going to ruin your engine. It's either going to punch a hole in the piston, or most of the time it bends a valve. If it bends a valve, you don't have good sealing. So everything, you lose all your compression. So it's important to get timing belts serviced whenever the vehicle manufacturer recommends. Timing chains don't typically have to get serviced, but they do stretch. Sometimes they break as well. Most of the time, I would say if a timing belt or chain breaks, it's probably going to damage the engine, but there are a few times that it won't. And the only way you can tell that is if you were to take and line your timing marks up and then put a new timing belt on there and start your engine. Now, real quick, I want to tell you something. Let's pretend that you were doing a timing belt service and this timing belt was on here already. Before I took this timing belt off, I would mark it. I'd get some white out, and I will mark the top with an arrow pointing this way, okay? And I will mark one of these teeth, and then I'd mark the tooth on this one over here with some white out. And then I'd mark the tooth down here on the crank. And then I'll take my timing belt off. Now there should be marks for your timing on your crank and the timing on your cams. But what this does is that it guarantees I can put the belt back on and put it back on correctly. So if I made a mark here, here, and here, what I can do is I say, okay, I'm going to count the teeth in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and you get up to, let's say, 32. Well, then I know that there needs to be 32 teeth between this cam and that cam. And then to go from this cam to that crank, count all the teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there needs to be 52. Then I know there needs to be 52 teeth between here and there. It's just a better way to guarantee that you make sure you put your timing belt on right. I will explain more of that later when we come back. But see if you can get your timing belt on there. It's going to fight you. It's going to be fun. Make sure you got your timing marks set up correctly. The best way I can tell by these directions is that flat piece right here has to be facing up. This one has to be facing out, and this must be facing down. All right, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Please stop here. Do not proceed any more, and take a picture and let me see your progress. Thanks for watching.